is going on YouTube? It's your boy Tyler_TCG, and welcome back to round 4 of Locals. Without further ado, let's hop right in. On the left, we're going to see Rob, who is playing Ishizu Tearlament versus Chris, who's going to be piloting his Runick Spright deck. And without further ado, we're going to hop right in. Looks like Chris is 1 the $1, opting to go first. Now, this is the match we've wanted to see all week, guys. This is the first Ishizu Tearlament match on the channel, so let's see what happens here. Looks like Chris is going to start with a copy of Spright Starter to grab any Spright from his deck, probably going for Spright Blue to search either Spright Jet or Carrot or Red or whichever one he needs. So there we go, Spright Blue. Chris is going to take 1100 here, take him down to 69. Ha, nice. So we're going to see what we need. We're going to probably grab Jet here to grab Smashers. Yep, there's the Jet. And yeah, Chris has been playing the Runick Spright deck for a couple weeks now. I think it's his favorite variant of the deck, where Rob, I think this is Rob's first time playing a Ishizu Tier in tournament setting. I know he's been done a lot of testing, and we're actually going to see, here comes the Spright Jet special summon to search a Spright Spell trap card. Just wondering now if we're going to be grabbing the we're going to grab the Smashers or just another copy of Starter. We're going to Spright Smashers here. Very, very good choice, being able to stop Rob from triggering possibly a Kick Kalos if he summons it. And now we're going to see if he has any other response, like maybe a Runick card here to special summon the Hugin, then they get the search off by the Hugin. So it looks like we're going to, yep, I believe that is Runick Flashing Fire, or Runick, one of the Runick cards. So we're going to activate the effect of Hugin here to discard 1 and then search out any Runick spell. Probably going for Runick Fountain is the choice here. The Runick cards are very cool. They seem like just like, we see him discard the Hyperion to possibly bring back off the Spright Elf to draw up a card. Like I was saying, the Runick cards are very, very cool. They kind of act like a Sky Striker-ish kind of strategy. Like people were calling it Sky Striker 2.0 when they first heard the cards release and everything. So now we're going to see Chris take his Hugin and overlay it with the blue to possibly summon, probably going for a Gigantic Spright to just get another level 2 out of the deck. It could be probably like Swap Frog or a Red maybe. We're going to see what happens here. But yeah, so now we are in the Tier 0 format. So now Ishizu Tearlament is definitely the deck you want to prep for. And he actually is opting to go for a copy of Cap Shell. Now this card is very, very cool. It's Cap Shell says when it's used for any type of summoning and sent to the graveyard, you can just draw a free card. So pair that up with a copy of Hyperion, you're just going to get an extra draw 2, which is fantastic. So we're going to go activate the Runick Fountain here. Runick Fountain is such an insane card, guys. It's able to activate your Runick spells from the field. That looks like Runick Destruction, I believe. And there's a second copy of Hugin. Man, and then here, discarding a triple tax talents, even though he already activated the effect of Hugin. But I guess we're just going to chain the Runick Fountain here to put back 2 and then draw 2. Unless Hugin isn't a once per turn, which would be insane. We'll see. We're going to draw 2 here. And now we're going to get another search. I guess Hugin is not once per turn, which is crazy to think about. They have to grab another copy of Runick Fountain from the deck to hand here. And now we're probably going to link off the Cap Shell plus the Hugin for a copy of Spright Elf to bring back the Hyperion to draw yet another card. And so that means Chris has drawn 3 cards this turn, meaning his advantage is very, very high. Possibly drawn to hand traps, maybe like, I don't know, like Ghost Bell, Haunted Mansion, Ash Blossom, anything to try and stop his opponent's Ishizu Tier strategy. So yeah, there we go. We drew the card off the Cap Shell. Now we're going to activate another copy of Fountain. And Fountain isn't once per turn either, guys. So just being able to bot deck all these amazing Runick cards just to get more advantage. All right, and then we're going to bring back the Hyperion off the Spright Elf, draw yet another card. So in reality, we've drawn 4 cards this turn, as well as just search and just deck thin as much as possible. So it looks like we're going to go for Runick Slumber, I believe that's the one. So Rob's going to banish the top 4 cards of his deck due to the effect. So we're going to see him banish, actually no, sorry, it's 3. Looks like we hit a Pellerino, a Tearlament Scream, and one of the newer cards, Medora, and now we're going to proc the effect of the Runick Fountain, draw yet another card. So 5 cards drawn in this one turn. Definitely are going to see your engine cards or just any interruption. We're going to end with an IP Masquerena here. And it looks like that is going to be it for Chris's turn. I think I see a couple of hand traps maybe in his hand. I know he does main deck Lava Golem. So looks like we're going for a possible set 2. Definitely one of those is the Spright Smasher that we knew he added. And then what else can the other one be? It's definitely not a Runick spell because he does have the Runick field spell up, so it could be like an infinite permanence, possibly. I think Rob just drew Tearlament Sully for turn, and he also has a copy of Instant Fusion, so he will be able just to summon out Kick Close for free without having to need to activate one of his Tearlament effects. So the Tearlament Ishizu deck is definitely something that you guys are going to have to definitely start looking out for if you go to your locals, but it is a very fun deck to play, especially in the mirror match. The mirror match is so insane. We're going to see Rob normal summon a copy of Tearlament's Rhinoheart here, now opting to send any Tearlament from his deck to the graveyard. We're going to see which one he wants to choose. Chris looks like he might have a response as possibly a copy of Infinite Permanence. I think I see a Droll and Lockbird in his hand. Droll and Lockbird is definitely a very interesting card in this format. I think it is rather good in the matchup versus Ishizu Tearlament, just due to the fact, and that looks like Runick Stamping Destruction. I'm not very sure. And then what is that? A copy of Forbidden? That looks like a copy of Forbidden Droplet. Yes, it is. It is a copy of Forbidden Droplet, sending both the Rhino Heart, so he won't be able to respond with monster effects, as well as, let's see what else. It looks like he wants to possibly send a trap here, or maybe a spell. So Chris can't respond with another copy of like another Runick spell or something. And it looks like we are going to send Tearlament Sully from hand to graveyard as well to negate, I would imagine, both the IP Masquerade and, yep, the Spright Elf. Chris can unfortunately not respond with monster effects or traps in this scenario because he has Rob has sent spells and trap and monster off the Forbidden Droplet. And it looks like Chris is going to think now the Tearlament Rhinoheart will resolve, unfortunately. And then here we go, chaining to that, we are going to chain Spright Starter to get a Spright monster from our deck. Probably, I would imagine, either red or carrot. You probably go for red in this scenario, so he's just going to go for the blue. Possibly just to get more resource advantage here to add a copy of a monster for the next turn, if there is a next turn. The Tearlament Ishizu deck is a deck that can definitely OTK, which is one of its best benefits. But yeah, going back to like talking about how the Spright, the mirror match is played, the Ishizu Tearlament mirror match is such a fun match to play. I've watched it all weekend at the YCS, so I definitely learned a lot. So we are going to proc the Rhinoheart here, sending a Tearlament from deck to graveyard. So it looks like he's thinking about either sending Havnus or Sheeran, and we are going to send Sheeran here and then proc the Sheeran effect to fusion summon a monster here. Probably going for the Kiklos here, and then New Chain is going to activate here. Being Spright Blue as Chainlink 1, the Fountain possibly is no, so the Sheeran is Chainlink 1 because Rob is turn player currently. Blue I would imagine is Chainlink 2, and possibly the Fountain is Chainlink 3, but we'll see what's happening here. Unfortunately, I never learned the names of all these Runick cards. Looks like 1, 2, looks like he's going to go with Blue Chainlink 1, Fountain Chainlink 2. So we're going to draw a fresh card here off the top. And then we're going to search a copy. We're going to search a Spright card, probably Jet, I would imagine. Just get maybe another copy, to get the third copy starter out of the deck and be able to use them in the follow-up. That's the one thing I like about the Runick Spright deck so much, is just how many cards you are. Oh, no, we're actually going to add a copy of Spright Pixies. So that way, whatever Chris wants to keep on his field, we'll make sure, because Spright Pixies access Honest. Now we're going to use the Sheeran effect to fuse itself and the Rhinoheart to make Tearlament's Kiklos. And then be able to add any Tearlament monster that we want from our deck to hand. There is the Kiklos here. So now, we are in a very interesting position. So Chris can opt to activate the copy of Spright Smashers here to get the Kiklos off the board, which is probably the biggest problem card he has to deal with right now, because Kiklos being able to tribute itself to special summon a Tearlament from hand or grave, and then the additional mill. Let's see what Rob's going for. I would imagine Rob would go for a Merly in this instance. Oh no, he goes for a Havnus. Interesting. Very interesting. So he wants to have that built-in hand trap, because honestly, Havnus is a very good hand trap right now, especially in this format that is dominated by just a Ishizu Tearlament being able to mill the 3. Possibly, we are going to see the Droll Knockboard dropped here on Rob here after he searched off the Kiklos. So now, this puts Rob in a very, very interesting position, because this deck does do a good amount of searching. Now it's just a matter of what we want to do. It's we do see a copy of Instant Fusion. Oof. Doesn't look good for that's not good for Chris, but I don't know really what we're going to Instant Fusion into, because we have the Kiklos already on the field. Are we going to possibly Instant Fusion into a second? Oh, that looks like Mud. Oh, that is Mud Dragon of the Swamp. Being able to change its attribute so nothing can be targeted with the same attribute. Unfortunately, Spright Smashers does not target the banish. It just banishes any card on the field. So we're going to activate Sheeran effect, sending Havnus here. Now we're going to mill another 3 cards. We're going to hit Herald of Orange Light, Terraforming, as well as Kelbeck, one of the new Ishizu cards. So we're going to go Chainlink 1 Havnus here, and we're going to go Chainlink 2 Kelbeck. Now, Kelbeck allows both players to mill 5, which is a lot better for Rob than it is for Chris, because Rob has already used the effects of both Sheeran and Havnus. So we are only missing out on Merly now. So I imagine he's trying to hit the Merly here to get another fusion summon off and possibly just win the game right now. But yeah, definitely let me know what you guys think of the new Tearlament Ishizu deck. I think this deck is very interesting. It's a very fun and very big combo heavy, which I like. I like big heavy combo decks now. So we're going to mill the 8. We're going to hit Agido, Keldo, Primitive Planet, Rhinoheart, and it looks like Chris just hit 5 spell cards off that, which isn't that bad for him when you think about it either, because now he'll be able to activate the Runick Fountain again to draw even more cards and just recycle. So we're going to go for the Havnus effect here. Fusing with itself. I imagine you want to make like a Rhinoheart, a Kaleido Heart or something, because Rob is still under Droll Knockboard, so he's not able to add anything here. So we're going to go with the Sheeran, the Havnus, as well as the Rhinoheart into, like I said, the copy of Tearlament's Kaleido Heart. So now we're going to be able to shuffle a card back into the deck. Don't really know what we want to shuffle back here. Possibly the IP Masquerade. And it looks like we're actually going to go for the Agido effect to mill yet another 5 cards, because Agido was sent to the graveyard by card effect. And it looks like we are going to spin the Fountain with the Kaleido Heart, which is very, very good for Chris, allowing him to not access his Runick cards anymore. So there goes the Spright Red, Runick Tip. And then for Rob, I didn't really see it. He did hit the Merly as well as the Crime, so he did get the last fusion summon effect that he needed in the graveyard. So, but now the question is, what do we fuse into? We can go into like a Garura, or we can go into Tearlament's Rukalos, because we are still under Droll Knockbird. Now, I think Rob just turbo power these mills. But now we have used both of the Ishizu card effects that let him mill, but we do have the Keldo to possibly send 3 cards from the graveyard back into the deck from either graveyard, which is just so amazing. So now we're going to fuse with the Merly, as well as it looks like we used the Mud Dragon this one to make, yes, we made Predaplant, Drago, Stapelia. Sorry about the glare, guys. I will definitely try and fix that glare throughout this next up week of locals. So now we have some pretty big beaters on board. We have Kiklos, which is sitting at 2,300. We have Kaleido Heart, which is sitting at 3K. And we have the Drago Stapelia sitting at 2,700. But we still have that copy of Spright Smashers in the back row. So it's just a matter of time what we want to hit. And we do know that Chris has the the copy of Spright Pixies, so it's going to act like an Honest on whatever attack he chooses. So we're going to attack Kaleido Heart into the Spright Elf here. Probably up there it is. The Spright Smash is going to trigger here, banishing probably any Spright monster that we need from the graveyard. Nothing really matters in the graveyard except we're going to just get rid of the banished Smashers. We're going to banish the starter here, and we're going to banish the blue, probably to get rid of either the I think in this instance you have to hit the Kaleido Heart probably, or the actually no, the Dragos Depelia seems to be probably the bigger thing on board that's the most annoying. Yeah, we're just going to see him hit the Kaleido Heart here. I would probably went for the same thing, to be honest. And then we're going to go with Dragos Depelia, probably to attack over... Well, and he actually cannot beat over the Gigantic Spright currently because it's sitting at 3,200 thanks to that Hugin on the board. So we are just going to attack into the Elf here. Looks like Chris is thinking about dropping the Pixies here. I think you should drop Pixies in this instance because you just need the Elf to get so many resources back. Yep, so there goes, drops the Pixies on the Dragos Depelia attack. So he's going to take, I believe it's 1,400 because it acts just like Honest does. And then we just are left with the... Kikalos beating over the IP Masquerena for, I believe it's 1,500 points of damage. I believe Kikalos sits at 2,300. And Chris made it out of that turn without a lot of... actually, not, and we're just going to see Rob scoop it up, actually. Only having one card in hand and just having a Tearlament Kikalos when your opponent has a full graveyard full of Spright monsters and Runick cards, and just be able to shovel back and just gain so much advantage. So we're going to see that Runick Spright is still a very good... the Spright deck is still very good, as just shown by Chris. Wow. I was actually watching this match, and I just walked up at the end of Game 1, seeing that Chris was just dropped a Droll and Knockburn to see how much that stopped Rob's turn. That's incredible. We see Rob go for a couple copies of Change of Heart here and Skill Drain in this side deck. We're just going to see now Rob choose to go first. So if I'm Chris in this instance, I definitely do want to sign in copies of Dimension Shifter. I don't know if he is playing copies of Dimension Shifter because he needs those Runick cards to go back into the deck and not the graveyard. Excuse me, we don't need to see those Runick cards get banished. Very sorry about that, guys. I do know that he mains copies of Lava Golem here. I'm just trying to figure out what he wants to bring into this matchup. I imagine just like board breaker card, like spell and trap removal. It looks like two Cosmic Cyclones as well as a copy of Skill Drain. So if Rob just happens to draw that one copy of Skill Drain, that could do a lot in this matchup. But we're just going to see what happens here going into game number 2. Chris and Rob are definitely some of the better players at locals, and I always like to learn from them when I play them or like watching them play. I just feel like I learn so much more. Chris has actually been to a couple of the YCS this year. I believe he's been to 3 YCS this year. I believe he went to YCS Hartford as well as YCS in Minneapolis. And I don't believe he went to YCS Pasadena. I'm not sure off the top of my head. Actually, I don't. But one person that did go from our locals is Mr. Zach Butler, Z Butler, TCG. He went to go write for the blog for Konami. And yeah, I was told that he had a great time and he really enjoyed the event itself. But yeah, Rob has been playing Tearlament now for a couple weeks. I believe since the deck came out, actually. I don't remember him ever playing the Spright deck. I know he just probably enjoys the Tearlament deck a lot better. When it comes to the 2 decks, I really don't know. I think I like the Tearlament deck now more because I just think it can go off on a lot of really explosive combo plays now, especially with the Ishizu cards. And the Spright cards really don't do much. Definitely the Ishizu's Tearlament outshine the Spright cards, especially but not on release though. On release, I believe everyone wanted the Spright cards more than the Tearlament cards. But yeah, it looks like the duels are all shuffled up here, and we're going about to hop into game number 2 now. I am assuming that Rob is going to take the starting play here, just being able to set up his board to try and not allow Chris to play. Probably on like a Tearlament's Rutkalos with a maybe a Abyss Dweller or Spright Elf with an IP Masquerena, because that's like one of the. I did see Rob draw a Cosmic Cyclone in his opener, so he will be able to deal with a Runick Fountain if Runick Fountain does appear. So we're gonna see Tearlament Scream and 1 step back row, and it looks like Rob's just going to pass right there. I guess his hand was not all that great for this going first. But we do know he has the Cosmic Cyclone, which is going to definitely mess up Chris's day if he wants to activate the Runick Fountain. Also, the Tearlament Scream being able to mill 3 cards from the top of the deck if Chris normal or special summons a monster. So we're going to just see what Chris wants to do here. Definitely not wanting to proc that copy of Tearlament Scream, but he has to. So that looks like I believe that is Runick Flashing Fire again to special summon the Hugin. So we're going to get the Hugin is Chain Link 1 to discard a card to add a Runick card from deck to hand. We're going to discard that period again to add the Runick Fountain, and I do believe Rob then will be able to trigger his Tearlament Scream to mill 3 cards from the top of his deck. So we're going to see what is milled here. Definitely want to see, I would say off to 2 Tearlament names here. So we're going to see if he does want to we're choosing not to activate the Scream. Interesting. So now we're going to special summon the blue effect to search out a Spright card, a Spright monster, probably Jet, and it looks like we are going to meet it with Herald of Orange Light, discarding another fairy monster from the hand. You haven't seen Herald of Orange Light do anything ever since Drytron made its appearance in the format. Now, I believe that is a Judge Colby, and then we're going to discard the Kelback. Oh my gosh, just being able to mill 5 cards now from both players is going to be massive. It's going to be very massive here. So I guess Chris is thinking about what to search here off his Spright Blue. Oh no, the Spright Blue was negated. I'm sorry, the Spright Blue was negated. I was wondering if Chris just had anything to respond to that. So they're both going to mill 5. Chris hits Dimension Shifter. Rob hits 2 Tearlament names, and Chris just hits a bunch of hand traps, unfortunately. But we see Rhino Heart, Murley, and Havness here milled by Rob, and that's just going to give him so much advantage now. It's very insane how just 1 mil can turn this game in your favor. So, and looks like he also hit a Mudora. Mudora is one of the Ishizu cards that lets you banish yourself from the graveyard, then target 3 cards in the graveyard in any graveyard, shuffle them back. So now it's a matter of what Rob wants to choose, how to chain here. I imagine he doesn't have anything to send for the Rhino Heart, or else he would have activated it, and then he would have used it last turn, unless it was like a Sheeran or something. So it looks like Chris might have a response here to these chain links. I'm not sure about the chain links either, but we will see what they are. They're definitely taking their time. Chris wants to make sure he plays this absolutely perfectly, so that way he doesn't allow Rob to get any extra additional advantage that he doesn't need to. Looks like we are going to activate a Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood. That's just going to allow Chris to gain some life points now. I believe the Ghost Sister says that whenever a monster is special summoned, your opponent gains life points equal to its attack points, and if they do not gain life points, you take half your life points. So we're going to send back the Havnus as well as the Rhino Heart to make Tier Elements Kitkalos, and then we're going to trigger the possible Merly here now. I don't believe we were triggering the Rogues. I don't think it was on the chain link. So now we're going to activate the effect of Kitkalos, actually, to possibly send a Tier Element to the graveyard. I see Rob looking at a copy of Sheeran. That'd probably be one of the most optimal things to mill now. Just to make a Tier Elements Rukalos, maybe. Yep, and there it goes. Tier Elements Sheeran heading to the graveyard now to proc another Fusion Summoning effect. Let's see what Rob wants to make. I would imagine you would go for Rukalos here. Yep, there goes Sheeran as well as the Kitkalos back into the deck to make Tier Elements Rukalos. This card is so good, guys. The fact that it just acts as a Solemn Warning effect, and then you just have to send a Tier Element monster, I believe, from your hand to the grave, or field to grave, which is just so powerful. But Chris has gained a good amount of life points here. He's gained 2,300 off of the Kitkalos and 3,000 off of the Rukalos. So if this game does go into time, Chris will be up in life points, and that will be the end of the match, but I don't believe so. We see the Runick, Runick Fountain activated here now by Chris, and now he's just gonna pass his turn there. Fortunately, Chris is really betting on that Spright Blue to just gain any form of advantage here. And now I guess they're just gonna Chris is gonna ask what Rukalos does and everything. So now let's see what happens. We see Rob think about just entering the battle phase here possibly to attack into the Rukalos. Looks like we have another copy of Tier Element Scream, and that looks like a Havnus. And yep, we're going to swing it, head into the battle phase and attempt to attack. We're going to activate Stamping Destruction. I believe that's Runick Destruction to possibly pop the Rukalos here. And then it'll allow Chris to send back a couple Runick cards to draw. We're going to activate the Runick Field spell, targeting the 3 cards in the 3 spells in graveyard to send them back. That is going to be made by Cosmic Cyclone. So unfortunately, those cards will not be being sent back into the deck, and Chris will not be able to replenish his hand now. And that puts Chris in a very, very awkward position now. He's not looking good. But both players on little to no resources, which is very interesting. Very interesting. It's really anybody's game now. It's just whoever top decks the better card. It is a Havnus as well as a Tier Element Scream now. And then Rukalos being able to summon itself back in the graveyard, and then attacking again, and then the Hugin being able to recycle itself back to the extra deck. Unfortunately, fortunately for Chris, but that has caused Rob to pull ahead by just keeping a 3,000 beater on the field, and Chris having little to no resources right now. He has 1 set back row, and that top deck, he was really needing that Runick Fountain to resolve here. And it looks like, I don't know, if I'm Chris in this position, I don't know if I would continue to play out the game or just head on into game 3. Because you are playing the clock now. The time is winding down. I just remember watching this match on Thursday and just seeing how tense these guys were, trying to figure out what the best line of play is and like what's going to get them to gain any form of advantage here. And it looks like it is a spell. Oof. So Chris once again is just going to set and pass. Oh yes, the cards in hand now are Tier Elements, Havnus, Scream, and then I believe Rob just drew a Bestial monster. No, that looks like a Madura, actually, now that I get a better look at it. Are we just going to move into the battle phase and attempt to attack over for 3,000 damage here? No, it looks like we are going to normal summon. I believe that is Madura, yes. I'm not sure the full name. I just know them by their single names: Madura, Agido, Keldo, and Kelbeck. And we're going to mill 5 here. We're going to hit Agido and Rhino Heart. Ooh, that is a very good hit here. So we're going to proc the Rhino Heart now to send a Tier Element from hand to graveyard, special summon it, and we are going to be able to send, as well as trigger the Agido here to mill 5 cards from both players. So Rob is just getting more and more advantage by the second. A card like Dimension Shifter, if Chris opened it, this would have been insanely well. Yeah, it would have got him a little bit further in this turn. So we're going to send the Tier Element Scream here, actually. So now we're going to mill the 5 from both players, and looks like Rob hit 2, the Havnus, the Kelbeck, and it looks like Chris just hit 4 spells and a Cap Shell. So now we're going to activate the effect of Tier Element Scream. Since it was sent to the graveyard by card effect, he can now add any Tier Elements Trap, I believe. And I believe he's already sent the Crime to graveyard, so he can add Tier Element Sullik. But not before also chaining his Havnus as well as his Rhino Heart on field. So he'll be able to add a Tier Element Trap, send a Tier Element from deck to graveyard, and then Fusion Summon, and then whatever Tier Element he sends, he can trigger yet another Fusion Summon. So I think Chris has about seen enough. I don't know. To be honest, I think he's waiting for Rob to present game on board, because now he can turn the Rhino Heart as well as any level and the other level 4 monster on field into any rank 4 he needs, like an Abyss Dweller, just to get the extra amount of damage on board, because right now he's already taken 3,000 damage, but actually no, he'd attacked into the Hukin. So here we go, we're going to trigger the Sheeran now, just put back the Rhino Heart to fusion summon probably a Kid Kalos, and then we're going to use Kid Kalos effect to search anything, probably Merly, because we haven't used Merly yet. That's the only tier element monster we haven't used, so we're going to now fuse the way the Hobness with the Merly to, I would make probably a Garura if I had to guess. Garura is, like I said, guys, is just such an amazing card, just being able to, one of the best super poly targets right now, and just be able to draw a free card every turn. Actually, it looks like Rob is going to think here about what he wants to do. Oh, no. Yep, they're going to proc the Fusion Summon effect, send those two back to the deck, and then Fusion Summon, I would imagine, a copy. Yep, there's the Garura. So right now, this looks like 3,000, 3,023, so this is 8,300 points of damage. This all connects, and plus whatever the attack points are on the Medura. I believe it's not that big, actually. I have the cards right next to me. I can actually look at them and see how big they are. And it looks like Medura is actually 1,500. So that is a lot of damage coming Chris's way. So we're going to see what's going to happen here. If he has anything to negate possibly a Runick spell to summon the Hugin from the deck, or summon any other Runick monster. Yep, he's grabbing his extra deck, so that does indicate that he possibly does have a Runick card to allow him to summon. Yep, it looks like that is freezing curses, I believe. Runick freezing curses to allow him to special summon a Runick card from the extra deck in the extra monster zone. But Rob does have the Rucolo, so it will allow it to negate it, and because it does include the effect special summon a monster, and Chris is choosing that effect, so we're going to take 23 now, 3,000, and then 15. Definitely dealing a good chunk of Chris's life points that he did gain off that Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood. I believe that is the Ghost Sister that allows you to gain the amount of extra life. And then end of battle phase, triggering an evenly match. That is very, very huge now. Rob was probably not expecting that. I guess Chris just didn't really care about taking all that damage if he knew he was going to be able to clear Rob's field. But Chris is still on no cards at all. So we're going to see which cards Rob chooses to keep here. I'd probably keep the Kid Kalos here if I were playing this match out. Yep. No, we're actually just going to keep the copy of Tearlament Scream. I can respect that choice. All right. And turn plays back to Chris, and he's back in a little bit better of a position now because he doesn't have to stare down that big board made by Rob. But if he didn't draw any form of monster to get him to his Spright combo, possibly drawing a Spright starter to get blue, and then blue being able to add Jet being able to add Smasher or something. Nope, it looks like it's going to be a set and pass from Chris, and definitely not the top decks he needs. And it looks like Rob has top decked into Tier Element's Rhino Heart. That's so unfortunate for Chris. Now we're going to Chainlink 1 Rhino Heart, Chainlink 2 the Scream to mill. Oh my gosh, he hit both Agito and Kelback. So we're going to mill another 10 cards here, guys, as well as send Tier Element's Merly from the deck to the graveyard. So now we're going to have some Chainlinks. I imagine we're going to go Chainlink 1 Merly, Chainlink 2 the other two Ishizu cards just to allow him to fusion summon. But Rob is almost out of targets, I believe. I believe he banished a Kid Kalos and the Garura off field. So the only things he has left in his extra deck is like a Predaplan Dragos Tapelia or something. And maybe another copy of Kid Kalos. So we're going to go Chainlink 1 Merly, Chainlink 2 Kelbeck, and Chainlink 3 Agito. But Rob definitely does have to keep track of how many cards he has left in his deck, not to mill himself out. But you're never really going to mill yourself out in this deck because of the fact you're just recycling all these names. So here comes, each player's going to mill 10. We're mainly focusing here on Rob's mills. We see main deck Lava Golem from Chris, and then Rob's just going to hit a whole bunch of stuff. I see Merly. We're going to see Merly here. Send a copy, Fusion Summon back a copy of, it looks like Hobness. I did think I see a Sheeran. Yeah, there is a Sheeran down. So we will be able to proc the Sheeran effect of Fusion Summon. Yep, we're going to send back the Rukalos as well as the Merly here to Fusion Summon. I would imagine a copy of Predaplan Dragos Tapelia, or maybe a Tier Elements Kid Kalos. It looks like we are going for... Yep, the Kid Kalos is arrived on the field. So we're going to go Chainlink 1 Kid Kalos here, and then Chainlink 2... Probably Sheeran. Rob's just checking what he has used already. Nope, it looks like, yeah, we're going to use Sheeran effect to fuse back with Hobness, and then Chainlink 2 being the... Or that's Chainlink 1 the Kid Kalos, Chainlink 2 the Sheeran to fuse back the Hobness. Whew, man, guys, this is hard to keep up with, guys. A lot of milling, a lot of card effects. I can definitely understand why the announcers at the YCS had such a hard time keeping up with these effects. Because it's hard, especially when you're just trying to figure out what's happening, because like I said, I've muted the audio in these videos now, so we're just going to see what Rob wants to make. Let's see, we're going to send back a Bestial as well. Yeah, it looks like we're going to put back the Sheeran, as well as put back the Bestial, what is that? Gosh, which one is that? That's not Magnamut, it's, not Sonyar, it's the other one. Can't think of the name. It's the one that lets you send a special summon monster from the field to grave if it's sent to the grave. So then we're just going to put the, as well as put the Hobness back with the, and make Rukalos again. Oh, I understand now. So he went Hobness as well as Sheeran's fuse effects to make both Mud Dragon Swamp and Rukalos. Okay, so this makes all the sense now. So it looks like we're just going to attack here. We're going to attack for 19, 15, and 3K. And it looks like that is Runick Slumber, and then we're just going to use the effect to negate it. So he will not get the effect special summon, and it looks like Chris has seen enough, and he's just going to scoop it up. And we are going into game number 3 now, folks. Who will come out on top? Will Rob with his Tier Element Ishizu strategy, or will Chris come out on top with his Runick Spright strategy? Excuse me, I just had to take a sip of water. But yeah, you can definitely see how back and forth this match has been. It's a lot of people are saying that the Ishizu cards are very toxic for the game, but I don't think they are. Not that bad as everyone made it think out, like in the OCG, because it does. The Ishizu cards provide, I think, a lot of back and forth between the players, so it requires a lot of communication, which I like a lot. I like it when I play Yu-Gi-Oh! I like to have constant communication with my opponent. This back and forth kind of game. I don't like being in control of the game is nice. It just makes the game go by faster, but I do like the back and forth interaction. You see, like we saw in the finals of YCS Pasadena, as where you see Hani versus Jesse Cotton, just how much back and forth they had, or even the top 32 match with Pac versus Hani. That match was very, very good. I see Rob taking out the skill drains he put in, knowing he's going second, and trying to figure out what he wants to put in. I imagine just more board breaker cards. I think like cards like Change of Heart, Harpy's Feather Duster probably, and just all the cards to try and out Chris's board. And as for Chris, you definitely want to see copies of like Dimension Shifter, so I can imagine those stayed in the deck. Probably taking out the main deck Lava Golems because they just aren't really that needed right now in this. I'm not trying to really think what else you would need to bring in here. Possibly maybe Artifact Lancia for the Ishizu cards that do have the banish effects to shuffle back. But we will have to see as the game goes on, you guys. And I really hope you guys are enjoying the way we do videos now. And I'm just very, very excited about where the channel is heading with all this growth we are. We are almost to 500 subscribers at the time of recording this video, audio. So please, guys, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And please give me any ideas for any new videos you want to see. I'm always looking to branch out the content, starting any new series we can. We're going to start doing a speed duel series in a couple weeks once I figure out a good time for that. And it looks like we are all ready and shuffled up to head into game number 3 now. Like I said, Chris is probably going to opt to go first here. Definitely something that he'll need an advantage for, especially when it comes to this Runick Spright strategy versus the Tearlament Ishizu. I'm trying to think if there were any really misplays that were in this game. I don't think so. Just both duelists showing how skillful they are with their cards and their effects and their interactions with each other. And both players using the beautiful white KMC sleeves, just in my opinion, the best sleeve to use. All right, and they're going to, yep, there's the fist bump, showing true sportsmanship, and now we are going to start game number 3, and time is running out for them. Looks like Chris is going to opt to go first, as predicted. And looks like his hand, I can't really see his hand, we see Runick Slumber being activated here to grab the Hugin. Hugin is going to activate its effect here to add a copy of Runick Fountain from deck to hand, depending on what he wants to see. Up there goes the discard main deck Lava Golem. And we are going to chain Herald of the Orange Light, discarding Agito to negate and destroy the Hobness, the Hugin, but the Hugin will return itself to the extra deck. Now both players milling 5 cards here. Spright Blue, 2 monsters, 2 Runick spells, and it looks like a trap card. I don't know what that trap card is. We're going to see Agito, we're going to see Kelbeck, Harpy's Feather Duster, Change of Heart, as well as Merly be milled for Rob. Oh, it's a copy of Trap Trick that Chris milled. So we're going to activate the Merly effect and chain the Kelbeck effect to mill another 5 cards, just to get even more Tear Element effects off. But Rob needs to have another Tear Element in his hand to properly resolve the Fusion Summon effect. And actually, I do remember I was standing right near right next to them when Rob said that he does have another valid fusion target, and I did have to concur that both targets were in hand. We're going to see Rob mill Hobness, Scream, and Sully here, guys. And Chris just mills another 5 spells. Not looking good for Chris here. But we're going to see now Rob proc the Fusion Summon effect. Resolve the Fusion Summon effect of Merly here. We're going to send, yeah, I did see the Sheer in his hand, so Rob did have a valid target. Yep, showing me for the proof. So YouTube comment section, don't attack him. So now we're going to Fusion Summon into the Tier Elements Kit Kalos here. We're going to activate the Kit Kalos effect to search, and we're going to chain the Sullik. We're going to chain the Sullik now to search. So we're going to add probably a copy of Rhino Heart here. Gosh, these decks are so insane. This reminds me of when that Grasslook Screener used to be legal. Can you imagine if that card was legal nowadays for Tier Element, guys? That 60 card Tier Element decks everywhere, boys. And that's what it would be. So now we're going to see Rob grab a copy of Hobness. I believe that's off of the Kit Kalos, and we're just going to figure out what else he wants to add off of the... Sullik is adding him the copy of Hobness, but I guess we're not going to resolve the Kit Kalos effect to search or dump something. Or we're going to... Oh, no, this might be all in a new chain. Oh, this is all in a new chain link now. I'm sorry, guys. Gosh, these chain links get so high. So we're going to send the Sheeran off of the Kit Kalos now, so we're going to be able to fusion summon a monster now. We're going to probably make Tier Elements Root Kalos. Gosh, just really showing you guys the power of this one card. Just having the Sullen Warning effect to be able to stop your opponent from special summoning. So now if he wants to activate like something like Spright Starter, unfortunately will not be able to activate theirs. Comes Hyperia, allowing you to draw 1 card from the deck. Will Rob chain the Hobness here to try and get yet another fusion summon? Definitely a very tight window. And we're going to draw a card. Hopefully it was what he needed. He needs, I think, a Spright. Any Spright monster will do it. We see Chris just looking over the graveyard here, trying to figure out what is still left in his deck. That Hugin being negated was super, super unfortunate, because now we won't be able to get the Runick Fountain to hand to be able to proc the draw effects and the recycle effect as well. So Chris just needs a Spright here. Unfortunately, a Spright Starter would not be the right way to do it because of the Root Kalos effect to negate the effect to summon, and then just probably just end Chris's turn and then give Rob the opportunity to OTK his opponent here. Let's see. Yes, the time was definitely ticking down for this match, you guys. There were only 4 minutes left in the round when it came to this point here, and I don't think Chris has any way to gain life. Yeah, he has no way to gain life points. If he tried to go for the red resonator combo with Gigantic Spright, it would get negated by the Rucolos. But this game definitely did not end in a draw. I remember that much. And we do. Oh, he does have a Spright in his hand. Which one is it? It is Spright Pixie's. Definitely not the Spright you want to see here, guys. So yep, we're gonna link off and turn these two into probably a Spright Elf here. But I don't think it's going to matter at the end of the day because whenever he tries to activate the effect of the Spright Elf, it's just going to be negated by the Rucolos. So we're going to see what happens here now. We made the Elf, and I think we're just going to end up passing turn here. Chris looks like he already has half his deck in his graveyard, which is really crazy to see, guys. Really showing the power of the Ishizu Tearlament strategy. And we're going to just set 2, and we're going to opt to pass. Those probably are Runick spells that cannot be activated from the hand because we do not have the Runick Fountain up. Unfortunate time for Chris. And Rob also did not trigger the Tearlament Hobness in his hand as well, so that can definitely make Chris's life difficult if he chooses to activate the Elf and then just change the Hobness. We see Rob with a Cosmic Cyclone in his hand. He's definitely not going to opt to activate that because of the fact he's just so down that he doesn't want to pay any life points, possibly going into time limit, and just give Chris the win due to life points. What do you guys think of the time rules, though? I hear a lot of people do not like time rules. I am a little iffy on them, and it looks like we're just going to go to battle phase, or... No, he's going to attempt to activate the Spright Elf effect to Reborn. We're just going to chain the Rucolos here to negate it, as well as... I don't believe it destroys. I don't think it does. I think it just negates. We're just going to see them read over the card real quick. Oh, no, he's going to... Oh, Chain Dimensional Barrier here, declaring Fusion. That's really good here for Chris. Now we're just going to add the Spright Pixie, especially the Spright Pixie, so that way, if Rob wants to beat over this the Elf, he will be able to tribute the Pixies from the field to have the monster gain attack, which here comes Sheeran. I think that spells the end of it for Chris, guys. Probably going to enter battle phase here, attack into the Pixies, and then just attack the Rucolos, and use Rucolos to attack the Elf. And I do believe that is going to be it, guys, unfortunately. Yep, there goes the Rucolos into the Elf for a solid 600 points of damage now. And I think that might just be it. We're going to see Rob set 3, actually. And that's going to be it. Is now Chris's turn. We're going to see him. He needs a top deck of a lifetime here. I don't really know what gets him back into this game. Honestly, I don't think he can draw into anything that does. Unless he has like a set copy of Evenly Matched and then like a Spright starter. But even then, he's already down in life points with only being 2 minutes left on the timer at the time of watching the time go by. He's just looking over his graveyard, seeing if he can do anything now. If I remember correctly, that set card was a second copy of Dimensional Barrier. But Chris is already down 1,600 life points due to the attack from the Rucolos into the Elf. And I just think Chris is just going to set a monster and just pass his turn here. Yep, and it looks like Rob just needs anything to close out the game. And then we're going to draw for turn here and possibly top deck into something that we could use to win the game right now. But either way, when time limit is called, Rob is going to be declared the winner because Chris is down in life points. Unless he has something face down to allow him to gain life points or something, I highly doubt it. We're just going to go to battle phase here. We're going to attempt to swing into the monster. Yep, we're going to attempt to swing it over the Spright Red and take an additional 1,800 points of damage here. And it looks like, I think that is going to be the end of Rob's turn. Rob really doesn't have to commit a lot of stuff here. He just can go battle phase, attack every turn, and not have to worry about anything. And Rob's thinking over his options here. There really aren't that many options that we need to deal with here, so we can go... Looks like he's choosing to normal summon the Keldo. Yeah, it looks like we're going to normal summon Keldo and make a copy of Abyss Dweller now. Or Time Thief, or possibly a copy of Time Thief Reader. Nope, we're just going to drop Abyss Dweller here. Don't really know what the point of making the Abyss Dweller is now. But it looks like Chris is going to draw for turn here and try and just figure out any way to win this match. I don't think... Yeah, he's got it. And that is going to be it, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe.